All right, guys, another day of make.com. We're in lesson one of the second course, Make Basics. This is called Module Scheduling and Bundles. Today we covered 2 units, finished up the triggers unit, started and finished the scheduling unit, and then started the bundles unit. Okay, triggers. Right, so there's the instant triggers. They trigger the start of the automation when data arrives. And polling triggers, these are triggers that just go on regular intervals. And there's also this feature of triggers called acid, which allows for basically undoing things that happened previously, or undoing the trigger, what the trigger did, if there's an error when running the scenario. Some triggers can't have this, such as an email. You can't unsend an email, so that doesn't have the acid feature. But some triggers do have acid, whether it's polling or instant. They both can have the acid. So like redo feature, undo feature, if there's an error in the scenario. Cool. All right. Then we looked at a lot of scheduling. So scheduling is how often or when we run the automation or the scenario. We can do it at regular intervals. This is polling. That you can. It's noted with a clock on the trigger. Instant, on demand, or instant is, or when new data arrives, or instant is represented with a lightning bolt. And then there's just a lot of different variations of the polling. We can do it daily, we can do it monthly, we can do it different days of the week, we can do it different times, we can do it at different intervals at different times. So basically any type of combination of polling you can do. You can have it run for every 10 minutes for Mondays, and then on Tuesdays, and then once an hour on Wednesdays, but only in the month of February, etc. And then there's on demand, which is just a trigger type basically that only runs. There's no polling, there's no instant. It's only runs when you go into the scenario and click run once. So that's an on demand trigger. All right. So that's scheduling. Cool. All right. We got a little practice with a webhook to see what an instant trigger looks like. So webhook, we created a webhook trigger, custom webhook, and then we got the URL, typed in the URL, entered. It just had a website a screen, basically website that was just black. It said accepted, and then I went back to make, and it showed that we had a bundle. So that was an example of an instant trigger, a webhook, and then we started the bundles section, which bundles is like the information that's gathered and packaged up from an operation being used. So there's 4 parts of the bundle. I like initiation, operation, final commit, and finalization, something like that. I'm not sure what these really mean. The operation's where the data actually is, which can be mapped. And then within the data, the operation data, there's input and output data. So yeah, interesting stuff. All right, that's it for today. I'm still not super sure I know what the output data is. It's like what the data you get from the, pulling from a data source. The input, I guess, may be what you're telling the data source, what you're queuing the data source with, something along those lines. All right, that's it for today. We'll basically very likely finish up the first lesson tomorrow, which is module scheduling and bundles. This has been a long one, but tomorrow we should be done. We should finish up the last unit and then get into the test and likely finish both tomorrow. So talk to you later. See you.